You have to end some things to move on to bigger and better things, says one of the amazing quotes. Good morning, everyone. Here is Giridhar, and you are listening to the podcast Giridhar's Garady. Today, we have a calm, cool, social, and friendly person on the podcast, none other than Gurucharan. Hi, Guru. Welcome to Giridhar's Garady. How are you doing today?
I'm doing fantastic, Giri. Thank you. How are you?
Yeah, I'm fine. Thank you so much. Well, one quick question before we go into the actual episode. How do you feel like being here as a guest on this podcast?
I feel great, fantastic, Giri. And I did saw a few of your episodes, and it was like a lot of information and experience are blended there, and it is very nice to get all the different people's experience and their expertise in their fields, all those details in one place. So you're doing a great job, and I appreciate for that.
Thank you, Guru. Thank you so much for that. It means a lot.
You deserve it.
All right. Yeah. All right. So let's move into our concept for today. So, Guru, tell us, what is this great resignation all about?
So this great resignation is nothing but a high voluntary attrition rate across multiple organizations across the globe. So there is a lot of attrition going on, which is voluntary from the employees. It is not uh, concerned with one region. It's like all across the globe, across different industries, right? So that is happening post pandemic or in the middle of the pandemic phase, um, at the end of 2020 basically. And it has a lot of things. I can call it as like an employee win over employer for the first time in the history almost. And it's also like an employee getting what he deserved. It's also about the work life balance demands of an employee, and also it's about the employee's dissatisfaction, frustration, which is built over time. It's about the injustice done by the employer for employee. It's always like it's about the new way employees should be treated by the employer. It's also the adverse effect of employers hire and fire policies. So it's kind of combination of all. It was like a outburst at once, right? So that is what it's all about.
Yeah, that's right. So, tell us, when did this great resignation start?
It was started at the mid of pandemic level. I mean to say it's late 2020 and early 2021.
Okay. Okay. Let's come from the basics then. In general, what are the expectations of an employee from an employer at any workplace?
So yeah, the basic expectation for an employee is like there are many things, but the most important ones are like a decent pay according to market standards, recognition and rewards. That is a bigger motivation factor, and also the work environment should be positive, and also the work culture, right? So it should not be toxic, and sufficient paid leaves. So each employer should provide sufficient paid leaves for the employee. It should not be the case that whenever he goes to the leave, he has to cut his salary, or he has to be in the case that it's affecting his pay, right? And also dynamic and growth environment should be created for an employee by the employer, which includes both knowledge-wise development as well as hikes and promotions, right? And also the work-life balance is very important. So that is a major factor we are talking about today as well. So both his personal life and work life should be balanced. It's not like the work life is taking toll on his personal life, right? And also the most important what he expects an employee is respect in an organization. He should not be treated as kind of a traditional old school labor force, right? He should be treated as a a part of organization, which is most important thing. And also the mobility and relocation. So the things which can be done remotely, or things which can be done in a different location, uh, that flexibility should be given by the employer to employee. So these are the basic expectations which was before the pandemic also. But once the pandemic hit, this the things are more serious now, right? So employees are more serious about these things.
Okay. Okay. Well said, Guru. Can't agree more than this. But like just now, like you said about the pandemic situation, here's my next question to you. Do you think the pandemic situation has brought a change in all these expectations? And if so, in what way?
I don't think it is changed much, but I feel the expectations remains the same. The basic expectations of any employee remains the same. He want good pay, he want recognition, he want mobility and flexibility, he want hikes, promotion. Everything remains the same, but the pandemic has brought a different approach for it. It has made the thing serious, right? It has made the things to be like in the sense work-life balance. If you mean, before pandemic, it was okay if the employee work for a couple of hours more, but the pandemic has like the employees have seen the pandemic where they have lost many dear ones, right? So even I lost a friend in my in the pandemic, and he even I lost close relatives like my uncle, right? So he passed away recently. So uh, the things the thing you see, the family comes first, then the work. That has been the main change in the pandemic's way of life. And the pandemics didn't change the expectation, but it has given more importance to these expectations. That's what I think.
Exactly. In fact, it has changed our priorities.
Correct,
That,
correct.
right. Yeah. All right. So now let me put the most important question, that is the crux of this episode. Why do you think that this great resignation is happening?
Okay. So yeah, this mainly it is not only a near term thing which happened. It's kind of a built up thing which was gradually increasing over the years, but it was kind of a outburst, right? So the main reason being employers took employee for granted for decades, not only for years, it's for decades, right? And also when pandemic struck, the employees realized that health and safety of family is more important than work. Okay, the first thing comes with the family and then work. So that is the more uh, important thing in life. That's what employees recognized it more than ever, right? And also the major factor is once the pandemic hit, the supply chain description happened over the globe, right? So this increased the inflation as well, and the old pay didn't satisfy the employees, and they wanted more pay, and due to this inflation as well, that is also a reason. And also you see employees leave their manager or leadership than the company more, right? Always the management and leadership had been not friendly, right? Even in many case, even in India, you see, even in the software industries, the management is not everywhere they are friendly, right? So they stick to work hours very strictly, and they want us to work more, or like without pay. Also they force people to work on weekends many times without additional benefits, right? So that is happening. Um so that is also a major reason, which is pathetic management skills from management team, and also the leadership skills is old school still. We are in an agile world. The leadership should think people has their assets and not as liabilities, right? So they want to encourage them, um, and they want to be more friendly with the people. So that is lacking still. So that is also a reason for this great recognition resignation. And also the work life balance, right? So that is also causing this thing. So if you are with the family, it's important you spend good amount of time with them, right? uh, I'm not telling that you spend all the time with the family, but at least you are working 8 hours. Apart from that, you should be able to spend time with the family. It's not like you are extending work multiple times. It is once or twice, it is fine. You are extending your work hours, but not, it should not be a daily thing, right? So those are the factors. And also one more important factor is when the COVID hit, there was a lot of mass firing happened in the industry. So what happened at the end of 2020 or 2021? So the things turned up again, like the lockdown was released and business were opening again. So people, like the companies wanted to rehire the employees. So that is also a reason for great recognition. People change the places, people change the companies as well.
Yeah, yeah. So now that you spoke about the COVID pandemic impact as well on this great resignation, let me put my next question here. Uh, how about the impact of work from home model on this great resignation?
Yeah, work from home model was there in industry, like many companies had it before, but it was not based on the need purpose. In the sense, it's very rarely they used to approve it. In case if you have any like if you are sick, that is not impacting work, and you were still able to work but you were sick, then they were approving that. But it was not like approved so much work from home. But after the pandemic, the people wanted more flexibility in their work. And also they cared their family more than ever, because they see their people, like their family getting sick, their family getting hospitalized. So those things brought a lot of change in the work from home method. And also they wanted more sick leaves, casual leaves, whatever, than ever, right? People are getting more sick often than ever. So the need of good health benefits from the company is also important. So those things impacted more after the pandemic, Giri.
Yes, yes, that's right, Guru. Exactly. So maybe if we can list down the reasons, the top reasons would be the work-life balance, like you said, the priorities, and the rising inflation. So these are the main reasons for the great resignation that is happening right now.
Correct. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. So far we have discussed the scenario from one end of the table. So now let's discuss the scenario from the other end of the table. In what way does this attrition that is caused by this great resignation affects a company or a firm?
Yeah, that definitely is a big impact for companies. So you see across the industry, the attrition, like if you see our software industry, right, Indian software industry. So the bigger companies there is Infosys, TCS, and all. So they had attrition around 10 to 12%. Now it is increased almost to 20 plus percent, right? So it definitely has an impact, because the main impact is cost. The cost rises significant for company. So if you have an existing employee working for say 5 lakh per year, and he joined the company, he goes out, and if you want to bring the same skill set from a different company, you have to pay like 8 to 9 lakhs per year. So the cost is definitely a bigger factor for the company. It will definitely affect the cost, not only to for lateral hiring. Even if you hire freshers, you have to spend a lot of time on training them and a lot of money on training the freshers. So that is definitely impact on cost. The second thing is the quality. The quality will be deteriorated. So if you say an employee who works in a company for say 4 or 5 years, and he's doing well in his job and he knows all the skills, and getting so if he resigns getting the same skills, it's very difficult. And also, even if you get the same skills, you're not sure, right? The how you just do the interview and get the candidate, you're not sure how he gonna perform. You're not sure how much level is his skill set, because you are just guiding you're just interviewing a candidate based on a few questions, right? It's not about his fully the work experience, what he got and what expertise he got. So it's always difficult to judge candidate while selecting, rather than having a in-house candidate who is already working, right? So it's better to keep and retain the candidate uh, instead of rehiring a different candidate, right? So it's always the big thing on quality. The second point I told, that's why the quality is the second point. First is cost and second is quality, and also third is reputation, right? So if you have high attrition rate in the industry, it's definitely affect your reputation. So people don't want to come to you, because it's kind of a negative impact, and employees moral will decrease, right? Employees within the industry. So if you see my company, right? So I work for a company, and there are a lot of attrition going on and people were leaving. It was like moral down for me, right? But anyway, company will try to handle that. But yeah, it's kind of again moral down for employees, and also the reputation loss for the company, right? And the reputation loss leads to one more thing, is loss of client trust, right? So client will lose the trust on this company for if the attrition is very high, right? So if the attrition say is 30-40%, why would client trust that? Client may think the quality is not well, or the company is not doing something good, that's why people are leaving. So attrition directly impact client trust, right? So these are the main important things the company will be affected by attrition.
Correct, correct. So, in a nutshell, more or less, it's a loss for the business end of the day.
Correct.
Yeah. Okay. Then, what are the ways to retain employees during this great resignation?
Yeah. So there are different ways. So the first thing is build trust. Okay, trust is very important. So if you don't trust the employees and treat them differently, they won't be felt as a part of organization. So building trust is a very important factor for employers, and also timely hikes and promotions. So many people complained that they were not getting promotions on time across industries, so they were leaving, right? And also the hike percentage. So if you consider inflation is say now going at 9 to 10% rate, and you are giving say 5% hike, so the employee is not gaining the salary; he's like reducing his salary, right? So hikes and promotions are most important, and also dynamic pay scale across. Like it should be matching the market scale. It's not like providing lesser than market expectations. And also the most important factor is also the flexibility, like work from home, as we mentioned. COVID pandemic has brought that has a most important factor. So people nowadays are leaving the company because they are not approved work from home. So that is the phase we are in today. So enhanced flexibility and mobility is important for employees. And also if you take care of employee as a whole, employees, why would not they stay in your organization? So all these factors are important, but the most important nowadays is flexibility and work from home model, as well as keeping um, work life balance, which is part of it. And also traditionally, as I told, hikes and promotions always is important.
Yes, yes. More or less, this is just in line with what I usually feel, Guru. Like, apart from an handsome pay, there is always something beyond that. So that is, like you said, the respect and the work life balance and the work from home model or scenario, which people are actually comfortable with these days during the pandemic especially.
Correct.
Yeah. All right. So now tell us, Guru, what is the impact of this great resignation on the global economy as a whole?
Yeah, so there are both positive and negative impacts of this. On the positive side, I can say talent, employee talent is being recognized, and competition is increased. So you have a lot of companies coming back and taking employees, and their average pay has increased globally. And if you see here, like in Indian software industry as well, the pay has drastically increased. Now we are seeing people getting 20 lakh, 25 lakh per annum when they shift the job, and even up to 100% hikes. So if you are in 10 lakh, you are getting 20 lakh as well nowadays. So software industries has boomed like anything. So this is because of great recognition on resignation itself, right? So main thing is this pay has been increased across the industries, and also more startups are coming. People quit their job and they're coming up and they're doing as entrepreneurs, right? So they are setting up more companies. They're becoming entrepreneurs. All this thing is happening, and this is creating more jobs. People making their own startups, and they're employing more people. So it's kind of good for economy as well in a way, right? And also better hikes and benefits people are getting due to this, and also better revenue for the company as well, because they are getting quality, right? So that is also a good thing is happening. And if you see, the negative aspect is company cost is increased, but the quality may also increase. So the negative aspect is cost for the company, and also margin is decreasing for the company. The company margin decrease, their profit decreases due to employee cost, and so that their revenue might go down. But the revenue, they can handle it in a different way, I would say. Uh, they can put the cost on the clients, right? So if you are billing a employee at say $30 per hour, the company can go to the client and ask for $40 because of all this employee cost going up and margin going up. So the basic negative part is cost for company, company business impact, and also the inflation is also rising. Because see, if you say in the US here, right, McDonald's, they were giving like $8 to $9 per hour. Now I'm seeing McDonald's ad, they're giving like $14 to $15 hour. So who is bearing this cost? The company will not bear the cost. It will become to the consumer. The consumer who was getting a burger for say $3 to $4, now he has to pay $5 to $6. So ultimately, the inflation is increasing. Uh, th- the inflation is due to this as well, right? Great resignation also caused the inflation as well, and also the possibility of bubble boom and recession. So what happens across the industry if the pay is increased? The company will think of more of automation, and they also think of robotics, and they decrease the number of employees. So since the employee cost is increasing, the company think of more innovative way to reduce the cost. You are already seeing, even in India, some restaurants, they are your food is being delivered, or your food is being delivered through uh, drones. And also even in the restaurants, if you go for dining, your food is being sent to your table through robots. In many, like some of the restaurants are already started. So more technology is coming, and they want to reduce the employee cost. They are bringing more automation and robotics. So that is also a bad part. If that happens more, people will lose more jobs. So it has both good and bad effects. But the key is, um, it should be in balance. So great resignation should not reach to that level. It would impact the economy.
Yeah, absolutely, Guru. Yeah, just like for a coin, there's always two sides of a coin. So the same thing is the case with the Great Resignation. Then,
Correct.
yeah. Well, so I think it's time for us now to conclude our concept for today. So, lastly, just one message for our listeners with respect to our today's concept, the Great Resignation.
Um, so, if the listeners, they are employers, I would say think yourself in the shoes of employee, and always remember your employee is your greatest asset. And I know client is important, but if you are employer, employee is also too much important for you, because the employees are one who will be satisfying the clients, right? So think about that, and always think employees the greatest asset you have. And also be friendly with your employees, have a good management team which leads rather than which directs the employee, and also create an environment of trust and growth for the employees, and also focus on outcome rather than micromanagement. So this is my kind of suggestions for employer. And also if the listeners, they are employees, I would suggest don't hesitate to raise your voice and demand for what you need. And also upskill yourself as an employee. Don't s- in the sense do the routine work as usual. Learn the new technology, learn new skills, and upskill yourself so that you reach the market requirements. And also take calculated risk, and have sufficient savings in your account and backup. If in case something happens to your job, you should be having sufficient saving to take care of you and yourself, your family. And also the last thing is family comes first and then work. So always take care of your family, and then work. That's all. Kidding.
Awesome, awesome. Thank you, Guru. Thank you so much for that amazing message for our listeners today.
Sure, Giri. Anytime.
All right. So before we wind up, now it's time for us to move on to a special segment of my podcast, that is the rapid fire round. That's just a fun segment. So are you ready to participate?
Yes, Giri. Absolutely.
Great. Okay. So Guru, here's my first question to you in the rapid fire round. Employee or employer?
Employee.
Great. Leader or manager?
Leader.
Great. Recognition in words or rewards?
Recognition in rewards.
Yes. Okay. Work from office or work from home? I think I know the answer.
I would say a combination of both, Giri, because sometimes even uh, like face-to-face communication matters. What we are doing in our team is like we are going once a quarter and meeting people for one of the meeting. We have like a quarterly meeting. So I would say both, but have employee decide than employer.
Well, this
Mhm.
wasn't expected, but yeah, like you said, social life is also equally important. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay. Weekdays or weekends?
weekdays.
Okay. But why so?
So if your weekdays are good, then your weekends are good. So uh, work well and enjoy well.
Well, this is a different logic I haven't heard before. Awesome. Okay. Motivating others or being motivated?
Motivating others.
Great. Work with friends or colleagues?
Work with colleagues. Make them friends.
Ah, awesome. That's a wise answer, I must say. Okay. Long vacation or long weekend?
Long vacation.
Correct. Work like one man army or work with a team?
Work with the team. Only Rocky works as a one man army. Rocky in KGF.
Okay. So, Guru, my last question in the rapid fire round, my most favorite one. Let's see what you're going to say.
Mhm.
Giridhar or Gurucharan?
Giridhar through Gurucharan.
Okay, can you elaborate?
Yeah. So there is one Doha from Kabir Das. Okay.
Mhm.
Um, Guru Govind Doho Kade, दोनों खड़े काके लांगू पाई बलहारी गुरु आपने गोविंद दियो बताई. So which means
Wow.
Guru and Govind is God, right? So Guru and Govind are both standing. So the Shishya asks Guru, who should I pray first, or who should I touch the feet first, right? So whom's feet should I touch first? So the Guru tells Shishya. Guru is the one who you have to pray first to reach Govind, right? So if you pray the Guru, Guru will give you the knowledge to reach the Govind. So Guru Guru's charan or Guru's feet will make you reach the Govind. Govind is nothing but Giridhar. So Guru's feet, Guru charan will make you reach the Giridhar.
Oh, what an answer, Guru. What an answer, Guru Sharan. I never expected this, but yes, I'm really impressed with what you have said. I think I must invite you once again for this podcast so that you would say something related to mythology like this. And your Doha was really, really good.
Thanks, Giri. Thanks. I'm sorry if my Doha is not fully perfect, but yeah, I read it in Hindi class in my school, so I just wanted to remember that Doha. And I'm not an expert in mythology, but yeah, I will help whatever I can in future with that, Giri.
Thank you, Guru. Thank you so much. But your Doha is really inspiring, that I can say, no doubt in that. And thank you so much for being our guest today. And I wish to see you here once again in future.
Thank you very much, Giri. I appreciate the work you are doing, and again, thanks for giving me a great opportunity to meet you as well as to be part of this podcast. Thank you.
Thank you, Guru. Thank you once again for being with us today.
Thank you.
All right. So that's the end of the episode today, listeners. Hope you enjoyed listening to this episode. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. I'll be back next week with another amazing guest. See you.